And we're broadcasting soon. I'm gonna play some music for you.
What just happened?
What just happened?
Oh, I just realized I lost one of my buttons. I'm muting myself.
Why, we are on the internet. Welcome to Gaming4Justice. This is Maya Mama. We are streaming on youtube.com/Claudia Alec Calling Up Justice and twitch.tv/Maya Mama. And today we have had, I'm going to say, a bit of a kerfuffle, a bit of a technological kerfuffle. There's dogs barking in my house. Life is chaos. And today I have with me a guest. I have our producer, Claudia Alec. Would you like to check in with us and tell us how you're doing?
Sure. Can you hear me all right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So wonderful to be here for the stream today. I'm excited to test out this new game and have this conversation with you.
I'm excited too. So today we're just going to talk some current events. I have, in with full transparency, I am going to mention to you, Claudia, that there is a file that I have that I showed you that has links in it. And I was wondering if you wouldn't mind putting those links into the chat on Twitch. And I'll put the links in the chat on YouTube.
Happy to drop some links.
Awesome. And also, so these are just some of the links for like a few things that I just saw this week, or things that I've been thinking about. And you out there in real world land, speaking to us in internet land, if there are things that you want to talk about, please mention those to us, and Claudia as well, if you have anything that you want to talk about too. But while we do that, we are going to be playing a game called the Westport Independent. And it's been a while since I played the Westport Independent, but it is it's a game, it's like a propaganda kind of what's that? Oh, Claudia, help me out with language here. That, when Big Brother is watching over you, kind of fascist.
Well, that's propaganda. I feel like that's
fascist propaganda. There we go. Yes. It's the newspaper. It's a newspaper that is existing within like a fascist state.
Yeah.
And the balance between news and propaganda. How much news are you allowed to tell? How much propaganda are you allowed to tell? And so I thought we could play that game a little bit. It seems a little loud, and so I'm going to try and figure that out. I'm sure that's in in the settings, because this is the first time I've booted it up on my computer. But shall we check it out? The first thing that I wanted to talk about, Claudia, is the wrongful conviction of Anthony Broadwater. That was like the first thing I wanted to talk about. I'm wondering.
And this is like a larger conversation about how we encounter these stories, when we encounter these stories, how they're framed, how the stories, like, it's interesting how these newspapers will really, and I'm saying newspapers, I should say how the media how the media really impacts how we absorb these stories. So who's this person you're talking about? I'm going to pretend that I don't know. Who's this person that you're talking about?
Saying it in such a weird way, and it's really funny. Um, who is he? Anthony Broadwater was convicted of rape in 1982. He is he was the victim of false identification, a cross-racial identification, which cross-racial identifications are notoriously difficult to do, especially when coupled with an extremely traumatic event. But it was written about by an author named Alice Sebold, who people may know her as the author of The Lovely Bones. But she also wrote a memoir in 1999 called Lucky that was about her trauma, about what happened to her, about her identifying this person and putting him into jail. And it was eventually found out because it was set to be a Netflix film adaptation. And there were some questions after a producer hired a private investigator to look into some of the things, and then they turned over that information to the authorities. And this man is free from prison. Well, no, sorry, he was in prison for 16 years, but his rape was vacated. The conviction was vacated. So that is the story. And
it's reminding me of when Trump decided that he wanted to get more famous. And so he decided to spend a lot of money to take out advertisements in the newspaper to glom onto a cultural narrative. The cultural narrative was a white woman was raped by Black people. And I am the righteous white man who's going to help get this white woman justice. That's a profitable narrative to be a part of in the United States. It's a narrative that we've seen play out a whole bunch. And for some reason, the United States loves this story and believes it every time we encounter it. And it's all about criminalizing Black people, making Black people seem dangerous and scary and awful, and also creating these narratives of white male saviors. But I do think it's super interesting that the first time the story was told, everyone was like, yeah, no, this is fine. This isn't creepy or bad. There's nothing wrong with this story. The second time the story was told in the book, everyone was like, yeah, this is fine. So the first time the story was told was through the legal system. So the legal system did its cultural producing, its trials, its storytelling, its media storytelling. That was the first story, and everybody believed a black man did a bad thing to a white woman. And then the second time the story was told in her book, everybody also believed it. And she told the story many, many times to get that book published. And everyone believed it. And then she was able to also, to a certain extent, get more profile, right?
Yeah.
And then that book is being made into a Netflix film. And it's only because of the time that we're living in that the producers are like, oh, you've got a bunch of stuff in here that fits way too neatly into this cultural narrative that doesn't pass the sniff test. This feels kind of racist, actually. This seems wrong. How about we make this character into a white guy? And then that's when the one white dude on the project that was like, I was on here because I was here for the righteous narrative, was like, wait a second. Is this narrative not actually righteous? And he starts to do research. He does so much research that they kick him off the project. Yeah. Because they didn't want this. They did not want this getting out. They're mad at him. They did not want
the truth. They did not want some truth to come out. They were hot. They
can't handle the truth.
All right, I'm gonna start this game real quick though, so that we have
Okay.
that, because that's, what are we, Gaming for Justice, or are we? No, we're everything for justice. Never mind. I'm just gonna start playing the game. Are we
Justice.
are we chit chatting for justice or something? Okay, we're gonna. So I lowered the music so we can go ahead. So it looks like this takes place the Westport Independent, October 14th, 1946, printed in Westport. Oh, here it is up top, issue number 461. So we're gonna start. Ding ding. Your game will be saved automatically between each week. So there's been this thing that I've been thinking of. Okay, let me read this. This is a work of fiction. Names, characters, groups, businesses, places, events, and incidents are either the product of the author's imagination or used in a fictitious manner. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events, or groups, or places is purely coincidental. That's a lot of things.
The following is an instructional film.
I feel like they must have to say all of that just to, because, like, I'm sure that this game is going to seem like it's about stuff that we know about.
Let's listen, though.
Regarding both preparations for the bill and the bill itself. What is the Public Culture Bill? The Public Culture Bill is a new bill that will come into force May 16th, 1949, and has been created to improve the quality of independent media outlets. The bill contains certain guidelines for independent media outlets to follow that will make it easier to create media products of utmost quality. In order to make sure that everyone follows these guidelines, the bill will create a government-driven union called the Loyalist News and Media Association that will be mandatory for independent media outlets to join. What's your responsibility until the bill comes into force? Introducing a new bill takes time. Therefore, until the Loyalist News and Media Association is properly set up and the bill has come into force, the Loyalist government has created temporary guidelines for you to follow. Do not print deceitful content that may harm the appearance of our country. Do not print deceitful content that may harm the appearance of the Loyalist government. Do not print deceitful content that may harm the appearance of the president. And do not print deceitful content that may glorify the acts of rebels or other criminals. Do print content that strengthens loyalty towards the government. Do print content that inspires morality in the public. And finally, do print content that heartens propriety in our society. The Loyalist government expects your cooperation in this matter, and hopes you understand the consequences of disobedience and or affiliation with disloyal members of the public. How do I remove improper content from my paper? First, drag an article to your desk. Second, read through the articles and look for fallacies. Third, cross over paragraphs that do not fit with the government guidelines. Fourth, give your article to a journalist so that they can transcribe it. Make sure that you only give them an article you have fully edited, as mistakes can be quite devastating. That is all for this instructional film. Remember that the guidelines presented during this film are for media outlets in Westport only, and is not to be shared with the public.
Creepy. And that's fascism, folks. I mean, that is, right? That's fascism, yeah. But, oh, we've got mail. Fun. All right, let's look at the mail. It says, Dear Editor, Phil has been putting up more loyalist propaganda in the office. You know I can't stand this shit, so I decided to pull it down. It should be on your desk together with this note. Okay? That must be this thing. I'm going to put that on our desk. Loyalty, morality, and propriety. These are the basis of a civilized society. Oh, and they've got their little symbol. That's nice. Okay. So let's see what we got going on. Okay.
Okay, it just finished playing for me.
Oh, yeah. What'd you think?
And that's fascism, folks.
Yeah.
Intense. That's rather intense.
Are you just being silent and contemplative?
I'm listening to you.
Oh, I thought you were about to. You didn't finish your sentence. So I was being polite, but no more. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's do this tutorial. Tutorial article number 1, censoring. One of the game's main mechanics is censoring articles. You do this by clicking on paragraphs that seem inappropriate. When censored, that content won't be shown to the public and will affect neither their opinion nor the government's suspicion of you. You can change the headline by clicking on it. Different headlines can change the portrayal of an article. Okay. That's good to know. Now let's look at employees. When you've censored an article, it needs to be transcribed. To do this, put it in one of the named folders to the bottom right. The employees all have different opinions, and they'll be discussing how you run your paper. They also have their lives to protect, so don't blame them if they don't wish to follow you into death. Oh, that's how you cross things out. Okay. Cool. Let's see. Here is an article titled, I think, yeah. It says, Loyalist government pursues harsher actions against suspected rebels. So we could also call it Loyalist government attacks the privacy of civilians, which is, I guess, very inflammatory. So that, or Loyalist government pursues harsher actions against suspected rebels. What say you? Shall we completely fail and the Loyalists will be 100% suspicious of us, or should we try to be more subtle?
I don't know.
It's hard.
I don't know.
It's hard. Because, like, I feel like you know, when in certain days, not too long ago, a lot of people,
a lot of people what?
had to make what they, or had to do what they thought were like difficult type choices. Like this, like, do I try to work within the system?
Yeah.
Or do I blow the system up?
Well, it's less. I feel like the choices are less, do I work within the system or do I blow the system up? It's more, do I do a mild irritation to the system that causes me to fully lose my ability to survive inside the system? Or do I compromise myself and my values to survive within the system?
Right. So what do we do then?
Well, this is about, well, I guess you're trying to figure out where's the line. Where's the line between being able to survive? Because I think you can win this game probably by being a full propagandist and an evil person.
Yeah, and that's not. But you can also feed information to the rebels or put news out there about what the rebels are doing without the loyalists being suspicious of you. Like, I think that's the actual goal.
Yeah, like that's the way to actually play the game, and I think that's really winning, because winning is living your values and having your values get through. That said, I'm not sure if I could do this job. I don't think I could do a job that required me to compromise myself in order to push the ball forward.
Right. I feel like you can't see all of the screen, and that's why I'm moving this around.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm like, what? Why can't... Let me try to... But I think maybe...
Okay, I'm just gonna stop playing you in YouTube. The YouTube is playing funky.
Aww.
It's alright. It's alright.
That's okay. We'll live. Hopefully. We will survive.
Yeah, Satterfield in the audience. Hello.
Hey, Satterfield. All right, how about... So let's just move on. So a new reform has passed that will hasten the arrests of rebel supporters. The reform consists of exceptions in various privacy laws allowing police to expedite search warrants. Most of these exceptions apply to ex-criminals with relations to the rebels. However, some exceptions also apply to civilians who have expressed disloyal... So this is not working. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
This is gonna drive me nuts. Because I can't see the bottom of the screen. I'm not sure about you all. Yeah, you can see the bottom of the screen. I
feel like I can see the bottom of the screen, actually. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I see Anne. I saw Anne's box. I see the employee's handbook. So you opened up a thing that has the public something in it.
So it's okay. Let's just let's go back. So we're okay. So what do we want to? So I guess the thing is that we can't. We can also just deny the article, and not do it at all. But what we need to get the information out there that there is harsher treatment. This is also a warning for rebels and people who might be suspected of of being rebels. That's also, I think, part of what this article is supposed to be. So, let's see.
None of this looks like you need to... This all looks fine to me.
And even the title's good. I don't think that there's anything that will make the government look bad. That's what we're looking for.
There you go.
Is information that will make the government look bad. I'm like, it all looks bad. Like, everything that you're doing is bad.
Maybe, however, exceptions also apply to civilians. Maybe they don't. Maybe you don't want to be saying that the government is erect. That might be something to.
No, yes, you are correct.
You're going to have to go through a couple of rounds of this. You might have to fully get fired before I understand how to play this game.
Well, I don't get fired. So let's see. Okay, let's see. Julie is known for having doubtful opinions of the government. Went to college, worked abroad, as a freelance writer, maybe. Phil is a loyalist supporter. He lives in the Western District. He has a disabled brother that he lives with, and he went to a private college. Mm-hmm. Frank lives alone, no college education. He lives by the Eastern factories. He opposed the Loyalists before they came into power. He's barely trusted.
Mm-hmm.
Phil... Oh, wait, no. Frank is Frank more No. Frank is more suspicious. Phil is not suspicious at all. Anne is a parent. She lives by the Eastern factory. She's married, and she went to community college. So she is married. She has a family.
Uh-huh.
So that's something to keep in mind. She is more on the loyalist side than the rebel side. Frank is more rebel. Phil is more loyalist, and Julie is a little bit more rebel. I think it's because she went to community college and she worked abroad or whatever.
Well, Satterfield says you should throw Julie in prison. She's definitely not to be trusted.
But who gets the article?
Who gets the article?
Who do we want to write this thing that's supposed to sound like look at the great things our government is doing, but it's really like, I feel like maybe we could give it to Phil since he's a loyalist supporter.
Yeah, give it to Phil. He's a loyalist. Phil's going to feel comfortable writing nice things about the government.
Yeah.
There's folks out there currently working in the media, and their job is just to write about the nice things. It's a nice job. You're only writing about the nice things.
So our choices for this title of the article are: the public culture bill has been passed, or new bill has been passed, forces independent media outlets to shut down. That seems a bit much. But maybe not. I don't know. I mean, it's true. Let's see, the public culture bill. The public culture bill that the government presented last year has today been passed. The purpose of the new law is to stop the creation and distribution of incorrect and improper content. I see. It will force independent media outlets to either shut down or join the new government-funded union called the Loyalist News and Media Association, LNMA. So, what? Oop, I did not mean to do that. So what? I'm trying to see. I like the title. I like kind of having that slightly inflammatory title. I just can't help myself.
You're going to get fired. You are not going to survive in this fascist state.
It's not about getting fired. It's about living.
Well, yeah, if you get fired, you don't have a job anymore, and then...
No.
Oh, no, in this game, they arrest you and kill you?
They might. Who knows? This loyalist government, like, they're...
Maya, I assume
they might disappear me. They might...
I assume that all things end in bad repercussions that eventually are death, but I assumed it would be more like, oh, you don't get paid, and then you can't afford to live, and then you die. It's, genocide by... like just not taking care of you.
Oh no, I don't think that's what it is. But but I'm thinking, I was thinking of cutting it will force independent media outlets to either shut down or join the new government fund. I don't know. I kind of feel like the whole article is good again. But I feel like they kind of want me, because it's the tutorial level, to cut something. So I'm thinking...
Really? I feel like in the tutorial level, they're just going to be real easy on you.
I feel like I should cut, it will force independent media outlets to either shut down or join the new government-funded union called the Loyalist News and Media Association, LNMA. I think that's the one that I should cut. And it'll just say, the public culture bill that the government presented last year has passed today. The purpose of the new bill is to stop the creation and distribution of incorrect and improper content. The end. I think that's what they want.
I would publish all of it. But that's because I'm not playing to win.
I feel like, but we'll see, the thing is that I'm still having this inflammatory title, rather than, because it could be new bill has been passed, forces independent media outlets to shut down, or it could be the public culture bill has been passed. And I'm not giving them that. And I wasn't going to give them that. I was just going to... So I was going to give this...
All right, well, you and I are different. Because I would have done the more mild title and then had the fiery stuff inside the article. You have a more fiery title, but the article itself is pretty mild. I look forward to seeing if they're going to shut you down.
I think, well, Julie?
Also, apparently, I played some different video game that was about living in a fascist state that was that was literally having a pandemic happen. That you have to, where you work as a journalist, and you have to decide what gets published. It was it wasn't this game, Maya. I thought this was the game I had played that you were talking about. I apparently played some different game. I'm going to find out what it was.
Oh. Hold on. Are there more? Oh. Was I supposed to give this to somebody? I guess.
Tutorial article number 2. Yeah, you got to give it to people. You got to assign it. Assign it to Phil. Phil would like that one.
When you
Wait, you just take. I was like,
this part is about your employees. When you've censored an article, it needs to be transcribed. To do this, but employees have different opinions, and they'll be discussing how you run the paper. No, you won't. I don't know. Frank, write it up.
They don't want to follow you into death. Okay.
I mean.
Oh, okay. So I see.
Look. Welcome to the extraordinary and amazing, soon-to-be gaudy winner, the Westport Independent. Or just tutorial censoring. Yes. We don't need that information. And now I'm going to give it to Anne. Anne, write that. And now I'm going to send it to print. Or,
something's going to happen.
Send it to print. Frank says, I've never been a big fan of the loyalist government, but the public culture bill is even worse than I expected. Well, Frank. Phil says, don't blame it on the government. Blame it on yellow journalism and the blatant lies that some newspapers post these days. There's nothing good about a misinformed public. Phil is a fascist, y'all. Just to make sure that that's what you... Some of the things he says seem like they make sense, right? This sort of propaganda type of brain spinny thing where they say, lies in the newspaper, lies in the news. But oftentimes the people who are spouting about all the lies in the news are actually the ones that are telling most of the lies. Tucker Carlson.
Oh.
Anyway, Frank says, well, yeah, sure. But do you realize how much power the government will have over the media with this? Look at them smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee. Julie says, I agree with Frank on this one. I can't see how the public culture bill would be beneficial for anyone but the government. It's almost the 50s, so I'm just, affecting. Anne says, I'm going to have Anne sound like one of my most famous characters. Old-timey Lois Lane. We're almost done, by the way, which is real fun. Well, media outlets like ourselves have a scary amount of power over people's opinions. But on the other hand, I don't think that giving that power to the government is a great idea either. I can't spell. That's my old-timey Lois Lane. She can't spell. That was week 1. Or this is week 1. So, that we actually went ahead and we pretty much just played the tutorial. It's very fun. So we have these different districts. I'm going to go over real quick. The northern suburbs, western, eastern factories, and southern docks. And this is where our popularity lies. And then we'll be able to figure out, yes. Okay, yes. Sales. The container represents the people of the district. The light bar illustrates how many papers were sold. The more you sell, the more popular you get. The more popular you get, the more papers you can distribute. People's opinions will affect your sales as well. Likewise, a well-selling paper may also affect the people's opinions. So, so the loyalists 11. They trust us, I guess, 11 more. Is that right? Loyal suspicion of you went down to 11.
Nice.
The people's +3 on the loyal side, and +19 in popularity. So that's pretty good, y'all. We did it.
Yeah.
We did it. All right. So next week, I think we might maybe try to see what's going on in our video game that we're making. Touch bases with that. It's been a few weeks since we've looked at that, so I thought maybe we could take a look. We'll see what's going on. I would like to thank you, Claudia, so much for joining me. It has been sort of a harrowing half hour, but everything worked out, and I feel very happy about that. So
I was so happy to hear that. I'm excited to find a way to let our audience know when there's a technical difficulty going on.
Mm-hmm. So that we can just, yes, that would be wonderful. Someday we'll sort it out. So part of what I'm trying to do right now is get some information on this game that we played. It's made by a company called Coffee Stain Studio, and coffeestainstudio.com. Or sorry, coffeestainstudios with an S.com. And they made the Westport Independent, and they are located in they're Swedish. It's a Swedish company based in Stoved. Did I say that correct? Stoved?
That's exactly how you pronounce it, actually.
Oh, wow, really?
No, I don't know how to pronounce that. Why would
damn
I would know how to pronounce that?
That was really good, though. Yeah, that was really good. Well done. Well done. Aren't we great?
It turns out that game was called Headliner Novi News. That was the name of the game that I played.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna
Headliner Novi News.
I'd like to check that game out, too.
It feels like it's a very fancy rip of this game. Like, it's like literally this game, just with like sexier graphics.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same. And also like you get to like make friends with some people. So like there's a person you're working with where you find out they're part of the underclass that's possibly getting screwed over by your yellow journalism.
Well, so here's the thing I want to just tell people really quick about this game, though. This game, the Westport Independent, it is free. It's free. You can play it you can download it on Steam if you go to their website and you click on the Buy It Now. It just sends you to Steam. It's free to play. Anybody can play it. And why not check it out? That's pretty cool. Very non-capitalist. And I just love, I love just like, they just give it away. So that's very cool. Yeah, anyway, let me figure out what I'm doing with my brain. I'm figuring out my closing again, because as you know, I'm really terrible at closing, and I never know, like, when exactly I'm supposed to talk or what's supposed to happen. But I think I've pretty much figured it out. So thank you for joining us. Today we played the Westport Independent. For more information on that game, visit the studio's website, coffeestainstudios.com/games/the Westport Independent. Gaming4Justice is a Calling Up Justice production. Special thanks to producer and guest Claudia Alec. Thanks to graphic designers Lucy Millslow and Maya Millslow. For more information on Calling Up Justice, visit our website, callingupjustice.com. All the links will be in the chat and the notes. Check out our Instagrams at MayaMama79, at MayaSplains, at Calling Up Justice Now, at Claudia Alec, at We Charge Genocide TV. Come back next time, Wednesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Time, on twitch.tv or our YouTube channel page. Bye!